There comes a moment in your life when you must rise above the turbulence of emotions, where your spirit must learn to move in stillness, not in reaction. The mind, like the sea, is constantly moved by waves: anger, fear, jealousy, sadness, and joy. But the one who learns to stand upon the surface of these waves, calm and unwavering, becomes the master of his destiny. To act as if you are emotionless is not to deny feeling. It is to rise above its tyranny. It is to know that your emotions are not your truth. They are but servants, reflections, illusions, passing clouds in the vast sky of consciousness. The world teaches you to react, to fight, to defend, to take offense, to express every flicker of emotion as though it defines who you are. But if you truly seek mastery, if you seek creation through the power of inner stillness, then you must learn a higher art, the art of emotional detachment. To act as if you are emotionless is not coldness, it is wisdom, it is divine control. It is the quiet knowing that nothing outside of you can shake the inner state you have chosen to dwell in. Every experience you face in this life is shaped by your inner reactions. You attract not what you desire in words, but what you embody in feeling. But here lies the subtle truth. The feeling that creates is not the storm of emotion, but the quiet conviction that remains unmoved. When you can stand calm amid chaos, when your heart no longer trembles at appearances, when you no longer respond to fear or anger, but instead remain still and aware, then you are aligned with the creative power of consciousness itself. When the world insults you and you do not react, when life seems to collapse and you remain unshaken, when betrayal comes and you do not crumble, that is power. That is the highest form of creation, for then you are not being moved by the world, you are moving it. The secret of manifestation, of transformation, of creation itself lies not in emotional turbulence, but in controlled inner awareness. When you act as if you are emotionless, you withdraw energy from appearances. You no longer feed the illusion. You stop giving life to fear, to worry, to despair. You stop energizing limitation. The mind feeds on your reactions. The more you react, the more power you give to the shadow. But when you learn the sacred art of stillness, when you refuse to move emotionally before the illusion of difficulty, you starve the illusion into nothingness. It dissolves, for you no longer sustain it through belief. Think of a mirror. The mirror reflects whatever stands before it, but it remains untouched. It shows joy and sorrow, beauty and ugliness, life and death. Yet the mirror itself is never stained by what it reflects. That mirror is your true consciousness. The moment you identify with what is being reflected, you lose yourself in illusion. But when you realize that you are the mirror, not the reflection, you stand in divine control. To act as if you are emotionless is to dwell in that awareness. It is to remember that you are the observer, the one who perceives, not the thing perceived. This detachment is not suppression. It is not the denial of human feeling. It is understanding that feeling is a tool, not a master. You use emotion consciously when you wish to give life to a creation. You feel the wish fulfilled, not because you are desperate for it, but because you know it already exists within consciousness. Then you return to stillness. You let it be. You trust. You allow. That is divine indifference, the art of acting as if emotionless. You must learn to let appearances pass before you like shadows. The insult, the fear, the judgment, the delay. All of them are but forms, shapes of thought. The one who acts as if emotionless does not engage in war with shadows. He stands as the light behind them. You do not conquer darkness by fighting it. You dissolve it by being light. When you act as if emotionless, you are the light. You are the observer. You no longer seek validation from the world because you know the world is yourself pushed out. The people in your life are not strangers. They are mirrors of your own inner states. When you are calm within, life reflects calmness back. When you are unmoved by circumstance, the circumstance shifts to match your stillness. This is the mystery of creation. What you ignore fades, what you react to grows. Every reaction strengthens the illusion of separation, while every act of inner stillness affirms unity with the source. Let your heart be a quiet sea. Let nothing disturb its surface. Speak less of your fears, less of your troubles, less of your emotions. Feel the power in silence. When the mind demands reaction, pause. When anger rises, breathe. When sadness tempts you, observe it. Do not suppress, simply watch. The act of watching, without attachment, dissolves the storm. The emotion is a cloud, you are the sky. There is immense strength in the one who appears emotionless, for he is not dead inside. He is alive with awareness. He does not waste his energy on reaction. He directs it toward creation. He is deliberate, purposeful, calm, centered. He knows that emotion, like electricity, must be channeled. You do not let the current run wild. You use it to light the lamp of your intention. That lamp, burning steadily in silence, illuminates the path ahead. The average mind believes emotion equals authenticity. But truth is not in the explosion of feeling, it is in the command of it. Emotion without awareness leads to chaos. Awareness without emotion leads to mastery. And mastery is creation. To act as if you are emotionless is to be the calm sculptor shaping reality, while others are clay shaped by reactions. Observe the world's great creators, the great thinkers, the ones who moved mountains with their words and visions. They acted from inner silence. Their emotions served them. They were not servants to emotion. The world called them detached, strange, sometimes even cold. But what they truly were was focused. They knew that feeling uncontrolled leads to fragmentation. They chose unity, coherence, order. When you learn to act as if you are emotionless, you are declaring, nothing outside of me has power over me. This is not arrogance, it is truth. No man, no event, no word can disturb you unless you give it meaning. The meaning you give is the emotion you feed it with. Withdraw that meaning, and the disturbance vanishes. Think of every challenge in your life. The pain you feel from it does not come from the event itself, but from your interpretation of it. The wise one sees the same event but feels peace because he has trained his inner world not to bow before appearances. He acts as if emotionless, not because he cannot feel, but because he chooses to feel only that which serves his higher state. He chooses peace over panic, faith over fear, silence over struggle. When someone hurts you, you must not react. To react is to give them control. Instead, remember they are playing the role your inner state created. Change your state and the character must change too. This is the hidden law of consciousness, the law that all external drama is the reflection of inner vibration. So, when you learn to act as if emotionless, you are no longer trapped in the play. You are the playwright. You can rewrite the script at will. It is not easy at first. The body is conditioned to react. The mind is trained to defend. But each moment of self-restraint, each instant of silence when anger rises, each time you choose stillness over reaction, you grow in power. You become unshakable. The universe begins to bend toward your calm. You start to notice. What once disturbed you now dissolves before it reaches you. Life softens in the presence of your stillness. To act as if emotionless does not mean to suppress joy or love. On the contrary, true joy arises only when false emotions fade. When the noise of fear and desire falls silent, love, the pure essence of being, shines through effortlessly. The calm heart is not empty, it is full of divine peace. When you walk through the world as if emotionless, you move differently. You speak less, but every word carries power. You act less, but every act manifests results. You smile not from mood, but from knowing. You are not dragged by emotion. You direct it with awareness. You create deliberately, not accidentally. Life becomes a mirror, reflecting your chosen state. If you wish for love, Be unmoved by the absence of it. If you wish for success, be indifferent to the appearance of failure. If you wish for health, act as though health is already yours, unaffected by temporary sensations. This is the way of mastery, to act from the end, not from the middle. The emotional man reacts to what is, the awakened man acts from what shall be. Your emotional neutrality is your power. It is the silence from which miracles are born. To act as if emotionless is to rest in faith, to dwell in the knowing that everything is unfolding perfectly. When the world seems dark, you do not panic. You light a candle of inner awareness. You do not speak of what is wrong. You hold the image of what is right. You are not swayed by storms. You are the stillness that calms them. You must learn to love silence. You must learn to be still when others rush. You must learn to see the illusion of drama and not be drawn into it. The one who is calm in the storm controls the storm. The one who refuses to feed fear disarms it. When you act as if emotionless, you do not fight, you transcend. You rise above the battlefield, and from that height, you command the outcome. The emotions that once ruled you begin to serve you. Anger becomes focus. Sadness becomes compassion. Fear becomes awareness. You transmute emotion into wisdom, reaction into creation. You no longer say, I feel this, therefore I am this. You say, I observe this, therefore I can change this. This shift from identification to observation is liberation. In every moment of your life, ask yourself, who is feeling this emotion? Who is the one aware of it? The moment you ask sincerely, you will find that the emotion fades, for you have returned to the observer, the real you. This is the essence of acting as if emotionless, to dwell in awareness, not in reaction. And what of love? The mind may ask, if I become emotionless, will I lose love? No. You will discover love in its purest form, not as attachment, not as possession, but as being. Love is the state of unity, not the emotion of desire. It is the awareness that everything you perceive is yourself. In this realization, love is constant, unbroken, beyond mood, beyond reaction. The one who acts as if emotionless loves more deeply, not less. For his love is not fragile, not conditional, not demanding. It is still, vast, eternal. It does not depend on how the world treats him, for he knows the world is his own reflection. He loves because he is love, not because something outside of him made him feel it. To act as if emotionless is to stop being tossed by appearances. It is to be the silent witness of the play, yet also the writer of it. You no longer beg for peace, you are peace. You no longer chase happiness, you radiate it. You no longer plead with the world to be kind, you embody kindness and the world mirrors it back. This is the art of divine control, to act from awareness, not reaction. Every emotion that once ruled you becomes fuel for transformation. Every challenge becomes a stage for mastery. Every insult becomes a test of your silence. You begin to understand why the sages smiled at suffering, because they knew it was illusion. They knew the world is clay in the hands of the still heart. The goal is not to be without emotion, but to be free from the compulsion to react. The goal is not to suppress, but to transcend. Feel, but do not drown. Observe, but do not attach. Act, but from stillness. Love, but without fear. This is the meaning of acting as if emotionless. To live from the center, untouched by the changing forms of life. When you master this art, you will walk through the world as a quiet force. Your presence will change rooms. People will feel peace around you without knowing why. Life will align with your calm. You will no longer chase, you will attract. You will no longer react, you will create. You will live as the silent power that commands reality through inner certainty. So learn to act as if you are emotionless. When pain comes, remain still. When joy comes, remain still. When fear whispers, remain still. When doubt arises, remain still. Let all emotions pass like clouds and dwell as the clear sky. For it is in this sky of stillness that all creation begins. And it is from this stillness that you shall shape your world. You are not your emotions. You are the awareness behind them. You are not the wave, you are the ocean. When you learn to act as if emotionless, you do not lose your humanity. You gain your divinity. You awaken to the truth that nothing can disturb the one who knows he is the creator of all he perceives. Be still and know that you are the source. Be calm and see the world bow to your silence. Learn to act as if you are emotionless. And you will find that beneath the silence, beneath the calm, beneath the unmoved exterior, lies the most powerful force in existence, the consciousness that creates worlds. To learn to act as if you are emotionless is to awaken from the dream of reaction. Most people live their entire lives being tossed from one feeling to another, believing that emotion equals life. They are moved by the wind of circumstance, happy when the world is kind, and broken when it turns against them. Yet, the one who understands the laws of the inner world knows that emotion, uncontrolled, is the chain that binds man to illusion. When you act as if you are emotionless, you are not rejecting emotion, you are transcending its authority. You are taking back the throne of your inner kingdom. You are declaring that the storm within no longer commands the sea. You must understand that emotion is not bad, it is raw energy. It is the fuel that gives power to creation. But when that energy is scattered, unfocused, or governed by external events, it loses its divine potency. The one who feels every insult deeply, who responds to every minor disturbance, who cannot bear silence within himself, he is a slave to his own creation. He reacts to shadows on the wall, forgetting that he is the light casting them. The one who acts as if emotionless, however, watches the play unfold without being consumed by it. He knows that the outer world is an echo of inner movement. So, he silences the inner storm, and by doing so, he quiets the echo. To act as if you are emotionless is to understand that emotions are signals, not masters. They appear to show you what you are believing in that moment. When fear arises, it only reveals that you have momentarily believed in separation, believed that the power lies outside of you. When anger arises, it shows that you have forgotten your unity with the situation. When sadness comes, it tells you that you have lost sight of the eternal nature of your being. So rather than reacting to these emotions, you must learn to observe them as teachers. You must watch them rise, and in watching, you rob them of power. There is immense freedom in this stillness. Imagine for a moment you are standing in the middle of a great storm. The winds are roaring, the rain is lashing against your skin, the lightning flashes across the dark sky. The instinct of the human mind is to fight the storm, to run, to defend, to resist. But the awakened one stands in the center of that storm, eyes closed, calm, unmoved. He understands that the storm is not outside, it is the projection of the chaos within. When he stills himself, the winds calm, the rain softens, and the sky clears. That is the essence of acting as if emotionless, to still the inner storm and watch the outer world bow to that silence. Most people believe they can change the outer world by taking action, by forcing circumstances, by controlling others. Yet, every such attempt is futile because the outer is only the shadow of the inner. The one who learns to act as if emotionless changes the cause, not the effect. He changes himself, his inner state, and the world rearranges effortlessly. You will never find peace by chasing it in the world. You will only find it when you stop reacting and start observing. The one who can sit in silence when the world screams for reaction possesses infinite power. This practice requires discipline. The mind is addicted to emotion. It seeks drama, excitement, validation. When you begin to detach, the mind will rebel. It will whisper, "You're losing your humanity." It will tempt you to express, to argue, to defend. But you must remember, emotion does not define your humanity, awareness does. It is not emotion that makes you alive, but consciousness. and consciousness is still, silent, vast, and limitless. When you learn to act as if emotionless, you are simply remembering your true nature, awareness itself. When others insult you, see them as actors in a play you once wrote. When someone betrays you, know that they are fulfilling a script designed to awaken you from dependency on form. When you lose something, remember that nothing is ever lost in consciousness, it merely changes shape. When you can walk through these experiences without emotional reaction, you are no longer a character in the play, you are the director. You are no longer bound by the plot. You can rewrite it at will. To act as if emotionless means to trust the unseen. It means to walk in faith, not by sight. When everything around you suggests failure, and yet you stand calm, you are declaring to the universe, my inner world is my reality. And the universe, ever obedient to consciousness, must conform to your calm. The emotionless state is not empty. It is full of certainty. It is full of quiet conviction that the unseen is more real than the seen. You act from knowing, not from feeling. You see, the one who is constantly ruled by emotion is easily manipulated. Fear makes him obedient. Anger makes him blind. Desire makes him restless. Guilt makes him weak. But when you are emotionless, no force outside can control you. You become unpredictable to the world because you are no longer reacting from the patterns of the mind. You are acting from stillness, from choice. That is true freedom, the ability to choose your state independent of condition. Every day, you are presented with opportunities to practice this. Someone cuts you off in traffic, remain still. Someone criticizes you, remain still. You are overlooked, rejected, misunderstood, remain still. Each time you refuse to react, you weaken the grip of illusion. You train your mind to obey your consciousness, not your conditioning. In time, you will find that external circumstances no longer dictate your mood, and that is when true creation begins. Emotion, when mastered, becomes a creative instrument. But until it is mastered, it remains a destructive force. You must learn to transmute emotion into power. How? By observing it without judgment. When anger rises, do not suppress it. Sit with it, feel its heat, but remain aware. Watch it move through your body like a wave. If you do not identify with it, it passes. If you identify, it becomes your identity. So learn to let emotion pass through you without leaving residue. This is the alchemy of stillness, transforming emotion into energy, energy into awareness, awareness into creation. The emotionless state is not cold, it is luminous. It is radiant like the sun, shining on all without partiality. It does not love some and hate others. It loves because it is love. It does not forgive because it never condemned. It does not seek approval because it knows it is whole. When you act as if emotionless, you are not cutting yourself off from life. You are merging with it completely. You are no longer tossed about by its waves. You have become the ocean itself. There is a hidden beauty in this state. You begin to see everything as one movement of consciousness. The people, the events, the emotions, all are expressions of the same power. There is no longer good or bad, right or wrong, success or failure. There is only experience. You cease to label life, and in that moment, you are free. For all suffering arises from labeling, calling something bad, and resisting it, or calling something good and clinging to it. The emotionless one allows everything to come and go without attachment. That is peace beyond understanding. When you look at the world through this lens, you begin to understand the true nature of power. The world is not changed through force, it is changed through vibration. The emotionless being holds a steady vibration. He does not fluctuate between joy and despair. His inner state is constant. This constancy makes him magnetic. Opportunities, people, and situations are drawn to him because his vibration is unwavering. The world trusts him because he is stable. The chaotic man repels stability because he is unstable within. The calm man attracts abundance because he is abundance embodied. To act as if emotionless is to walk in quiet dominion. You are no longer shouting affirmations to convince yourself of power. You are living as power. You no longer pray in desperation. You rest in knowing. You no longer chase what you want. You radiate it. You do not demand recognition. Your stillness commands respect. This is the paradox. By appearing emotionless, you become deeply alive. For in that calm, every sense heightens. You see more clearly. You hear more deeply. You feel more purely. You live from the center of being, not from the edges of reaction. It is easy to love when life gives you what you want. It is divine to love when it doesn't. The one who can smile in the face of loss, who can stand in silence when misunderstood, who can remain unshaken when all else falls, he has tasted eternity. For eternity is not found in endless time, but in timeless stillness. When you act as if emotionless, you touch that eternity. You step out of the cycle of reaction and creation, and you enter the eternal now, the place from which all things arise. Do not mistake this for indifference. The emotionless man is not indifferent, he is free. Indifference says, I don't care. Stillness says, I care so deeply that I refuse to let illusion move me. Indifference is of the mind, stillness is of the spirit. When you act as if emotionless, you are caring from a higher level, not through attachment, but through understanding. You love the world, yet you are not of it. You walk among men, yet you are untouched by their noise. You act, but not from compulsion. You give, but not from need. You exist as awareness, complete in itself. The more you practice this, the more you realize that nothing ever truly disturbs you. It only appears to. All disturbance is illusion. The body reacts, the mind interprets, but the consciousness remains untouched. Like the sky watching the clouds, you remain vast, empty, pure. When you act as if emotionless, you return to this purity. You become like clear glass. Everything passes through you, yet you remain transparent and unbroken. This practice will test you. The world will challenge your calm. People will try to provoke you, to pull you back into the dance of reaction. You will feel emotion surge within you, urging you to speak, to defend, to fight. But you must hold your center. Remember, your silence is not weakness, it is power. When you refuse to react, the energy that would have been wasted in conflict becomes creative energy. That energy held within begins to magnetize everything you desire. You manifest not through emotional struggle, but through silent conviction. In time, you will find that acting as if emotionless becomes natural. It will no longer feel like an effort. You will simply be still, and the world will rearrange itself around that stillness. You will see people change before your eyes. You will notice circumstances shifting without explanation. You will walk through life untouched by fear, untouched by pain. This is the reward of emotional mastery, to live in peace while the world storms around you. And this peace is contagious. Those around you will feel it. Your calm will soothe others. Your silence will teach louder than words. Your presence will heal without effort, because energy communicates before speech. And the one who is calm emits the highest vibration of all, the vibration of awareness itself. To act as if emotionless is to live as awareness, not as form. The ultimate truth is that all emotion arises from identification with form. You think you are the body, so you fear death. You think you are the mind, so you suffer doubt. You think you are the role, so you feel anger when it's challenged. But the moment you remember that you are none of these, that you are the witness, the emotions lose their grip. The body may ache, but you remain still. The mind may chatter, but you remain silent. The world may shift, but you remain centered. This is the state of divine detachment, the highest expression of being human. So practice every day. Sit quietly and observe your emotions without naming them. Watch thoughts come and go like ripples on water. Speak less, react less. Feel the strength in stillness. When confronted with chaos, slow your breath and remind yourself, I am awareness. Let the emotion pass like a storm cloud. Soon you will find that emotions visit less often, and when they do, they leave quickly. You will live in a constant state of calm clarity, not numbness but transcendence. In this state, creation becomes effortless. The things you once prayed for begin to appear without struggle. People treat you differently, not because you changed them, but because you changed your state. You no longer emit the vibration of need, but of wholeness. You no longer attract chaos because you no longer vibrate with it. You become the still point in the turning world, the axis around which life revolves. When you act as if emotionless, you align with the very essence of the universe. The stars, the planets, the oceans, all move in perfect rhythm without reaction. They exist in harmony because they are not governed by emotion. They are governed by law. You, too, are governed by law, the law of consciousness, the law that says your outer world is the reflection of your inner state. The moment you master your inner world, the outer must bow to it. Therefore, let every emotion become a reminder, not a ruler. Let every reaction become a doorway back to awareness. Let every challenge become an invitation to stillness. The one who acts as if emotionless is not fighting life. He is in union with it. He flows with it, yet remains above it. He is the silent current beneath all movement, the peace behind all sound, the awareness within all emotion. To live in such a state is to know true freedom, not freedom from life, but freedom in life. You are no longer at war with your emotions. You are their master. You no longer seek peace. You are peace. You no longer wait for calm. You bring calm. You no longer ask for strength. Your stillness is strength itself. You move through life like the wind, unseen, powerful, unstoppable, yet soft. You act, but you do not react. You feel, but you are not controlled by feeling. You live, but you are not lived by the world. You are awake within the dream, untouched by its stories, unmoved by its illusions, forever at peace in your silent knowing. To learn to act as if you are emotionless is to begin existing from the center of power rather than from the edge of reaction. The ordinary person wakes up each day and steps immediately into the realm of affect, responding to situations, people, and moods as though they are forces beyond control. Yet the one who understands the nature of consciousness knows that all of it, every movement and event, is the outpicturing of invisible states within. When you react emotionally to life, you declare that something outside of you is stronger than the power within you. And the moment you do that, you surrender dominion. Acting as if you are emotionless is reclaiming that dominion. It is remembering that appearances are shadows and that the substance of life is your inner awareness. The power to remain unmoved in the midst of contrast is the power that creates worlds, because it is the same stillness from which all creation originally arose. You must come to see emotion as movement and stillness as creation. Emotion is energy in motion, and while it has its purpose, it becomes destructive when you identify with it. Most people believe that to be emotional is to be alive, but emotion without awareness is chaos masquerading as life. It pulls the individual into extremes, into highs and lows, into a pendulum that never rests. But when you act as if emotionless, you are not suppressing the swing, you are standing at the center of it. You are the still point that observes motion without becoming it. Every great teacher, every being who has discovered inner freedom, lived from that point of stillness, not because they lacked emotion, but because they transcended its power to move them without permission. They felt deeply, yet acted deliberately. They experienced passion, yet never lost presence. This is what it means to act as if emotionless, to remain rooted in awareness even while waves of feeling pass through. As you practice this art, you begin to notice how the mind continually seeks identification. The mind says, I am angry. I am sad. I am joyful, as if emotion defines identity. But the truth is, you are none of these. You are the awareness that observes them arise and dissolve. When you stop saying, I am angry, and start saying, anger is passing through me, you separate the eternal from the temporary. You remind yourself that emotions are visitors, they are not residents. To act as if emotionless is to refuse them permanent residence in the house of consciousness. It is to welcome them at the door, observe their nature, and let them leave without leaving a trace behind. There will be moments when the pull of emotion feels overwhelming, when something in the outer world triggers the old patterns, and every cell in your body demands reaction. Those are the moments of true initiation. Those are the tests of mastery. In such moments, pause. Do not run from the feeling. Do not indulge it. Simply watch it. Ask quietly within, who is aware of this? The instant you ask, you step back into the seat of consciousness. And from that seat, the emotion begins to lose its charge. It weakens not because you suppress it, but because you no longer identify with it. You observe without judgment. The anger, fear, or desire becomes transparent, and through that transparency, awareness shines. That light of awareness is the true essence of being emotionless. Not dead, not numb, but luminous. The emotionless state is like a mountain. The winds of life may strike it, storms may circle its peak, but the mountain stands silent, unmoved. You are that mountain. The winds are thoughts, emotions, and experiences. When you remember this, life begins to flow differently. You find that people's opinions no longer disturb you. Their praise does not inflate you. Their criticism does not diminish you. Success and failure lose their sting because both are seen as passing movements. You begin to live in equanimity, which is not coldness but balance. Balance is divine because it reflects the symmetry of consciousness itself. The universe expands and contracts, yet remains whole. The tide rises and falls, yet the ocean remains. To act as if emotionless is to live in that same divine symmetry, to allow the ebb and flow without losing the awareness of the ocean beneath. When you are no longer moved by emotion, you begin to act from intention. Most people believe they act intentionally, but in truth they react to inner states. They call their reactions choices, but they are merely patterns of emotion playing out. The one who acts as if emotionless chooses from awareness, not from mood. He does not speak because he feels anger. He speaks when it is right to speak. He does not act because he feels fear. He acts because awareness moves him. Such a being is unpredictable to the world, yet perfectly ordered within. Others are governed by the push and pull of desire and aversion, but he stands still in the middle of both, acting only from clarity. This is the secret of true power, to act from clarity, not from emotion. Emotion is tied to the senses, and the senses are tied to the illusion of separation. The more you feed the senses, the stronger emotion becomes, and the more you identify with the outer world. The emotionless one reverses this flow. He draws attention inward. He no longer seeks excitement through sensation. He finds it in stillness. In stillness, he feels the pulse of existence itself. There is a thrill far greater than any worldly pleasure, the quiet ecstasy of being aware. It is subtle, constant, and beyond description. Once you taste it, you will trade all temporary excitement for that eternal peace. You will begin to understand that the drama of emotion is the mind's attempt to imitate the aliveness of spirit. When you find the real, you no longer crave the imitation. To act as if emotionless is also to understand timing. The mind, driven by emotion, acts prematurely. It rushes into speech, into decisions, into defense. Awareness waits. Awareness moves in perfect rhythm with the unseen. When you no longer react emotionally, you move in harmony with divine timing. You say the right word at the right moment. You act at the perfect instant. It appears to others as intuition or luck, but it is simply alignment. You are aligned with the rhythm of life because you are no longer pulled by the frantic beats of emotion. Your steps become graceful, your words powerful, your actions precise. You become an instrument played by the hand of awareness itself. In relationships, this practice transforms everything. When two people live in emotional reaction, conflict is inevitable. Words are spoken not from truth but from pain. But when one person begins to act as if emotionless, the pattern breaks. The calm presence of one transforms the energy of the other. Anger cannot survive in silence, it burns itself out. Fear dissolves in the light of stillness. The emotionless one does not argue or defend, for he knows that defense implies doubt. He simply stands in awareness, and that awareness disarms all conflict. You will notice that when you are calm, others either rise to your level of peace or fade from your life altogether. Stillness purifies your environment as naturally as the sun dispels fog. This is also true in creation and manifestation. Many try to manifest their desires through emotional intensity, by trying to feel something strongly. Yet the secret is not in emotional intensity, but in emotional neutrality. When you are neutral, you are certain. When you are certain, the desire is already assumed as fulfilled. Emotion implies lack, neutrality implies completion. When you act as if emotionless toward your desire, you are telling consciousness, I already have it. The universe, which is your own consciousness objectified, responds accordingly. The appearance of effortlessness is the result of inner certainty. You may notice that when you truly stop caring whether something happens, it finally does, not because of indifference, but because you have reached the emotionless state of knowing. Knowing creates, emotion reacts, fear will attempt to disguise itself as caution, doubt as logic, attachment as love. You must see through these disguises. Fear is the vibration of separation. It whispers that you are vulnerable. Doubt tells you that appearances are stronger than imagination. Attachment pretends to be love, but is actually possession. When you act as if emotionless, these illusions cannot deceive you. You love without owning, you believe without needing evidence, you move without fear. This is the natural state of awareness, free, boundless, whole. The emotions are the veils that obscure it. The moment you stop identifying with them, the veils lift, and the light of consciousness shines unobstructed. You may wonder, how does one live in the world without being emotional? How can one engage with people, with art, with life itself, and not be moved? The truth is, you will be more moved than ever. But the movement will no longer control you. You will cry without sorrow, laugh without attachment, act without confusion. Your emotions become pure expressions of awareness, not reactions to illusion. They rise and fall like music, beautiful yet fleeting, leaving no residue. You become like a flute through which the wind of life plays its song. The music passes through, but you remain the hollow instrument, open, untouched. This is the paradox of being emotionless. You feel everything, yet nothing binds you. Observe how emotion distorts perception. When you are angry, the world appears unjust. When you are afraid, it appears dangerous. When you are in love, it appears perfect. But the world itself has not changed. Only your state has. The emotionless one sees through these distortions. He looks upon the same world and sees only consciousness expressing itself in form. He does not label it good or bad. He does not project meaning onto it. He sees, and in seeing, he understands. Understanding dissolves judgment, and with judgment gone, peace reigns. To act as if emotionless is to see clearly, to live in direct perception uncolored by mood. This clarity brings creativity. When the mind is turbulent, inspiration cannot enter. When the waters are still, reflection appears. The emotionless state opens the channel to higher ideas, to solutions unseen by the emotional mind. Artists, inventors, thinkers who touch this stillness often describe it as a flow state, a timeless moment where the door disappears and only creation remains. That is not emotion, it is awareness creating directly. You become a conduit for the infinite when you are not distracted by the noise of emotion. Your actions carry a quiet precision that comes from beyond thought each day. You can train yourself in this art. Begin by observing your inner weather. Notice when emotion begins to rise. Do not analyze it. Simply say inwardly, there is anger, there is joy, there is fear, as though you were naming clouds in the sky. This simple recognition separates you from identification. Then breathe deeply and bring your attention to the still point behind the breath. Feel the space between thoughts, the silence behind emotion. That silence is who you are. Rest there, even if for a moment. Over time, that moment will lengthen until stillness becomes your natural state and emotion becomes a fleeting whisper. Eventually, emotion loses its power to dictate your behavior. You will feel its vibration arise, and yet your face will remain calm, your words deliberate, your actions poised. Others will wonder what secret strength you possess. The secret is simple. You have remembered who you are. To act as if emotionless is not the death of feeling, but the resurrection of awareness. It is living from the source instead of the surface. It is walking through the fire of emotion and coming out untouched because you know you are the flame itself. It is understanding that no situation can define you, no emotion can limit you, no person can control you. The only power that exists is the power of consciousness choosing its state. Once you understand this, you are free. You will notice subtle miracles when you live from this awareness. Situations that once provoked anxiety will pass through you like wind through open hands. Conversations that once caused tension will unfold naturally, as if guided by invisible intelligence. The body relaxes, the mind clears, and even the air around you seems lighter. People will tell you they feel calm in your presence. They will sense that you are not judging, not grasping, not resisting, simply being. In that being, life arranges itself perfectly. You no longer chase results. Results arise from your stillness. You no longer demand respect. Respect flows to you unasked. You no longer seek love. Love emanates from you effortlessly. The emotionless state is not a void, it is fullness beyond expression. And so, practice each day to stand in silence while the world moves. Let every experience be an opportunity to remain unmoved. When joy comes, do not cling. When sorrow comes, do not resist. Watch both with equal awareness. Let gratitude arise not from circumstance, but from existence itself. Let peace be your default state, not your goal. The more you practice this, the more you dissolve the illusion of separation between you and the source. Eventually, you will live as pure awareness, observing, creating, and expressing without ever being consumed by emotion. You will discover that to act as if emotionless is not to lose your humanity, but to fulfill it completely, for in that stillness you become the conscious embodiment of the divine itself. And when you learn to act as if you are emotionless, you do not mean to erase your humanity, you simply choose mastery over chaos. You begin to realize that the emotion that once drowned you was never the enemy. It was your untrained reaction to it. You feel the urge to panic, but you don't. You feel the desire to lash out, but you remain still. You feel the impulse to cry over what's gone, but you breathe instead. This stillness is not suppression, it's sovereignty. It's the quiet assertion that nothing outside of you deserves the right to dictate how you feel, how you move, or what you believe about yourself. To act as if you are emotionless is to train your spirit to no longer feed off circumstances. You stop being the echo of the world and instead become its silence, the powerful, unmoved silence that bends reality. When you adopt this attitude, you begin to notice the subtle shifts in the way life responds. Situations that once shook you now dissolve before your calm. Arguments lose their fire because you no longer supply them with energy. Fearful thoughts vanish because you no longer indulge them. People start treating you differently. Not because they've changed, but because your energy has. Your quiet detachment communicates something words cannot. It says, I am not disturbed. I am certain. I am in command. And from that energy, creation obeys. This is the essence of mental alchemy, to transform every disturbance into peace, every doubt into faith, every pain into power. Think of the person who reacts to every disappointment, who cries at every setback, who fears every delay. That person is not free. They are enslaved to their emotions, which are enslaved to appearances. But the one who acts emotionless, who moves through storms as if they are nothing, is free. Because freedom is not about escaping emotion, it is about mastering it. When you master the way you feel, you master the outcomes that arise from those feelings. Because emotion is energy, and energy is the builder of form. To remain emotionally unmoved is to withhold that energy from the unwanted, to deny life to the undesirable. You begin to live deliberately, no longer by accident. Acting emotionless is not about being cold or indifferent. It is about being aware that feelings are instruments of creation, not chains of reaction. Every emotion you sustain impresses itself upon the invisible field of your reality. When you act without reacting, you choose what is impressed. You no longer allow fleeting moods to write your future. You act as though you feel nothing toward the outer world, because you know everything comes from the inner world. You choose to be still, serene, knowing that emotion misdirected can destroy, but emotion mastered can manifest. When you decide to act emotionless, you are not denying your emotions. You are denying them control. You are not pretending that nothing matters. You are realizing that the only thing that truly matters is your inner state. For from your inner state, all else flows. You stop allowing people to dictate your mood, outcomes to dictate your peace, and time to dictate your trust. You begin to see that everything that once felt like a trigger was only a test. And when you no longer react, the test dissolves because the lesson is learned. The outer world no longer has the power to unsettle the inner. You walk through life like a still lake, reflecting everything, disturbed by nothing. There will be times when your old self will fight this stillness. It will crave drama. It will long for emotional validation. It will seek reasons to prove that calmness means weakness. But this is the ego's resistance to evolution. It knows that once you become emotionally unshakable, it loses its throne. The ego thrives on reaction, but the spirit thrives on detachment. The more you practice being unmoved, the more your spirit rises, and the smaller your ego becomes. Soon, you will not even have to act emotionless. You will simply be unbothered. The very thought of reacting will feel foreign to you, because peace will have become your natural state. To act as if you are emotionless is to live as if you already possess what you desire. Because what is emotion but the echo of belief? If you truly believe you are already abundant, how can you feel lack? If you truly believe you are already loved, how can you feel unworthy? The only reason you feel intense emotion toward an outcome is because you think it can change something about you. But once you realize you are already complete, there is nothing left to react to. You act as if you feel nothing because you know you already have everything. This is the calmness of the master. Not numbness, but knowing. As you walk through the day, practice responding to every event as though you had foreseen it. When someone disrespects you, remain still, you expected it. When money delays, remain still, you know it will come. When people doubt you, remain still, you no longer need their validation. This posture of calm certainty bends reality to your will. The world cannot disturb one who no longer gives it power. Life cannot control one who no longer reacts. The emotionless are not heartless. They are boundless. They have transcended the cycle of reaction and creation. They no longer fall into the illusion that emotion proves existence. They know that being still is stronger than any storm. Understand this deeply: emotions are not to be feared, but observed. When anger rises, don't suppress it. See it as energy misdirected toward illusion. When fear surfaces, don't indulge it. Witness it dissolve under the light of awareness. When sadness appears, don't escape it. Recognize it as the resistance to change. Every emotion is a message, but not a master. The more you observe them without reaction, the more they lose their grip. Eventually, they become whispers, and you remain the silent witness. That silence is where your true power lies. When you begin to live from this silence, you no longer chase results. You know that what is yours must come. You no longer plead for outcomes, you command them. You no longer beg for love, you radiate it. You no longer chase peace, you become it. And the paradox reveals itself. When you act emotionless, you feel more deeply than ever before. But your feeling is not reaction, it is creation. It is no longer emotional turbulence, it is divine alignment. You feel deeply but remain unmoved, like a mountain feeling the wind. The feeling exists, but it cannot alter your being. In this state, your words carry weight because they are backed by stillness. Your imagination becomes sharper because it is undistracted by emotion. Your manifestations accelerate because there is no resistance. Emotionless action is not emptiness, it is precision. It is the ability to act without distortion. You no longer create from fear, desire, or doubt. You create from knowing, from calm assurance. You become a clear vessel through which intention flows unopposed. People will misunderstand you. They will call you detached, cold, or uncaring. Let them. They are still trapped in the illusion that emotion equals depth, when in truth, reaction equals weakness. True depth is calm. True strength is silence. You are not here to perform your emotions for the world. You are here to master them for creation. Every moment you refuse to react, you reclaim a piece of your power. Every time you choose stillness over outrage, you rise higher in vibration. Every time you respond with neutrality, the universe rearranges itself to match your inner peace. Your emotional neutrality is your shield. When chaos arises, it cannot pierce what does not fight back. When uncertainty comes, it cannot sway what does not fear. When people project, their energy dissolves against your stillness. You become untouchable, not because you avoid life, but because you have become life itself, unmoved by its waves. The emotionless one does not resist, they flow. They move through all things as if guided by an unseen hand, and that hand is their own imagination. The more you act as if you are emotionless, the more your subconscious learns to trust stillness over drama. It begins to accept calmness as the natural state, and soon your outer world mirrors that calm. Peaceful people appear, harmonious events unfold. Prosperity comes quietly. You no longer attract lessons, you attract reflections of your mastery. Life becomes a mirror of your composure. The things that once triggered you no longer exist, not because they vanished, but because your reaction, the energy that sustained them, is gone. To act as if emotionless is to embody the ultimate trust. You trust that everything unfolds for you. You trust that nothing can go wrong. You trust that delay is alignment, rejection is redirection, and silence is guidance. This level of trust feels like detachment to others, but to you, it feels like freedom. You wake each morning knowing that nothing can disturb your peace unless you allow it. You walk through the world like a calm God in motion, feeling deeply, reacting never. And then the miracle happens. Your inner neutrality begins to reshape the outer. Opportunities appear effortlessly because you no longer chase. Relationships align because you no longer cling. Money flows because you no longer fear. Everything you once tried to force begins to flow because force was always the signal of emotional imbalance. When emotion ends, alignment begins. When reactivity ends, creation starts. When you act as if you are emotionless, you finally let life serve you. You must remember that emotion, when ungoverned, is imagination in chaos. But when governed, it becomes the creative word. The calm mind speaks creation into existence. The reactive mind speaks chaos into continuation. Your stillness is the sacred soil in which your desires root. So when you act emotionless, you are not dead to life. You are alive to creation. You are not suppressing your humanity. You are expressing your divinity. You are not avoiding emotion. You are refining it into power. There will come a moment when you realize that you have not felt disturbed in days, weeks, perhaps months. You will see that things that used to trigger you now only pass through your awareness like clouds. You will realize that your power was never in reacting, but in remaining. And that is the day you will truly understand what it means to act as if emotionless, to live as if nothing can touch you, because everything flows from you. Your calm will become your magnet. Your silence will become your strength. Your neutrality will become your creation. And you will look at your life, serene and abundant, and know that this was never about emotionlessness. It was about power. The power of one who no longer gives their energy to illusions. The power of one who has become the still center of their universe. The power of one who has learned to act as if emotionless, and in doing so, has awakened the divine calm that commands all reality.